Welcome to Jimbo Safi on Record, a podcast, or I would say a space I create to talk intimately with the most interesting minds in cycling and beyond. In today's first episode, I'm talking with Virginie Palermo, and I couldn't think of a better guest. Virginie is a lot. I'm so proud of calling her friend. Virginie is a clear example of how the bike, with the open heart and a curious mindset, can make you discover the world and can also make you grow inside. She's also clear of probably the only example where she's just the most badass, but at the same time most lovable person I've ever met. Attributes that they usually cancel each other, and somehow she scores 5 stars on each of them. I'm really excited. Virginie is one of those persons as well that made me make the podcast, because I don't want to bring only people who are objectively successful on certain areas. She's just amazing the way she sees life, how she approaches every day, every person she meets, every place she encounters. We're gonna go for it, so see you in a bit. I'm actually very happy.
Good.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
But now, particularly now, because you are making my podcast starting way easier.
Yeah. Good.
Hello.
I like it. I'm happy. I'm also happy. I'm happy to be part of that journey with you.
I
It's
said it
kinda
on the
nice.
interview, but I'm
Yeah.
proud to call you friend.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting to chat with a friend.
Yeah. Me too.
That you inspire me,
Sick.
the way you approach things, the way you live your life, and that's why just talk. We will take through things, and particularly I want you to mention or touch on a woman in cycling, which is like I think the only big topic. The rest, this is Chris.
Easy. Perfect.
I even myself, I know your story in puzzles, because even with a friend, you never sit down with a friend to tell me your story.
Your exact story.
So
yeah.
it's always pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Can you build it for me, please?
Yes, I can. I mean, I won't build it from the beginning of my
not-
life, but I will build it to at least a time frame that makes sense.
Exactly. And you can stop whenever it feels relevant.
Yeah.
Actually, before, in case someone just joined, because maybe they have no idea about you. Because I said about your soul and how you see life through the bike and all these things, and maybe I do it very, very quickly. And Virginie rides insanely a lot. Her bike, you enjoy every single kilometer you put in your bike. I think it's very characteristic from you. You always have that one smile. She works since a few years in a shift in the bike industry. Shifted recently. You live in Copenhagen, Canadian. That is where you are gonna come back now.
Yeah.
And she was just now celebrating that January. Was it January 4th today? Whatever. And you have already how many kilometers on the bike?
I mean, not too much.
No,
I
but
think
the
like
past,
300, but
day,
yeah.
It's not that every day
No.
she rides 400, 200 kilometers.
No.
But you just enjoy a lot of bike riding. You have a very healthy relationship with bike riding.
Yes, like very, very healthy. I've been told a few times, have you not had that, what's the word, where when people kind of like,
You asking me for an English word?
yeah, which is probably not the best idea, right? But like, you see it, or not you see it a lot, but everyone kind of always talks about that time where they've maybe kind of like, not plateaued, but like gone downwards. There's a word for it, and it's slipping my mind, but there is that kind of like...
But you find joy in everything you do.
Yeah, I've never... Yeah, I've had tough times on a bike. I've had times where I'm like questioning myself on a bike, but I've never finished a ride regretting what I did.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what, I always know that when you finish that ride, no matter what kind of ride it is, there's like that adrenaline of happiness that kicks in, and then I just continue to fall in love. So it's like, yeah.
I love. Now we have a bit of an abstract context, but enough to now build up your story, and then we touch on your second journey, because I think what you're doing right now on the bike is not even representative of what you are as a cyclist, because you are a lot.
Yeah. So
Canada. I know Canada. I know horses. I know teacher.
Yes.
I know bikes. I know snowboard. I know a few things.
Yeah.
Put them together.
There's like a lot of things, which is it's actually very well representative of the kind of person I am. I think I really love to learn new things and gain new skills and try new things. So I think while I roll you quickly through a little bit of my timeline, I think you'll see quickly how much of a change I've done. But yeah, I think if we stem back to kind of my journey through sports, it definitely started in ballet, believe it or not. I was like a little ballerina, very, very committed to that. I did that for 8 years, and I danced at the National Ballet School of Canada.
No way.
And I was in the Nutcracker, and I was like, that was my journey, and that was where I was headed. And I think you'll learn as I kind of go through the sports as well that like I never take things like with a grain, or not with a grain of salt, but I take things not to an extreme, but seriously.
Yeah, you're committed.
Yeah, very committed.
Yeah.
So got into ballet and I was like, this is what I'm doing. Went to the top ballet school of Canada, danced there forever. And the plan was to become a prima ballerina. But I think that the reason why I like to, or I haven't really talked so much about ballet, but I like to bring it up sometimes because I think I personally think I have a good quality in like being kind of not strict, but
On it.
disciplined. I'm very disciplined.
You are.
And I really think that started from being in ballet. It was a school where it was like,
It's crazy, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking you this, because it's crazy how things early in the days mark the person you are
Yeah.
later on the road. I try to, I'm sorry for now I'm talking about it, but sometimes like, okay, all that chapter of my life is behind and it's useless. So it's like, oh, I did a 180 degrees turn or whatever. But no, like you carry all that on the shoulders, right?
Yeah,
And you
and
even took it from when you were 8 years old.
yeah. And I actually reflect a lot about all the different types of things I've done. And I like to try and find that like red thread that has gone through all the sports that I've done. But yeah, it was into ballet. And then after ballet, it was into horses. And then I got into that very intensely. And I rode horses. I competed with horses. I used
Crazy,
to.
you're a high level on fucking everything. You have
Yeah,
done.
my biggest thing was I would buy these very cheap young horses or ponies actually. It was back during my pony days, and train them into becoming an athlete, because I will give all the kudos to the horse and ponies because they're definitely more of the athletes when you're a horseback rider. But yeah, then you
But I
kind
guess
of
then is one, sorry, and I'm curious, this is,
No.
I guess, when the human part of it, particularly with horse and animals, come into place, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't, I have no clue about animals, and particularly
Yeah.
horses, but I guess a horse, you need to treat him or her,
Yeah.
or him, it's
Yeah.
always him,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
have a connection with horse.
Yeah, and I really struggled in high school, and it was my high school times where I was doing horseback riding, and I had a lot of friends, and I was fine, and I did well in high school and everything, but I was not your typical teenager and partying and hanging out with friends at the cinemas, or kind of your more typical things that teenagers would do together. I didn't really do anything for me. And so when horseback riding came into my life, it became my obsession. And I spent every day after school at the barn, every weekend. I ended up working at the barn every weekend, and then I would ride my ponies, or I would like help other people train their horses. And then it was also this kind of addiction to progression. And that's also a big part of me, is I am really into seeing progression in myself.
Do you already, maybe you will get rich, so you're not gonna be able to answer me this question, but you already had an aura already back then. You have an aura today. Like you do carry amazing presence with you, and everyone who spends time with you celebrates that. Do you already back then were this way?
Yeah. I mean, we all change in our years, but I don't really, the way I am now, especially with cycling, is the same I was and with all the sports I ever did.
That says a lot, because I think that says a lot of you as a cyclist, because you are, I don't want to say that you are not dependent on cyclists, but I always wonder, like, and I think Joshua asked it because in the Q&A asked it, like, will you be the same person or your identity without a bike? Maybe not on the surface, and I'm maybe answering for both of us.
Yeah.
But probably if you scratch off the actual needs and interests as a human, probably you will be a similar identity without a bike.
I think so, because I people who have known me my whole life through all my different sports, I think would say that I'm not different at all. It's like, yes, you could say maybe my identity is sports. I don't know, or not my identity is sports, but I'm not someone. I think we all need a passion and a hobby, but I tend to take one and then I really go into it. And yeah, I mean, if I didn't have the bike, then I would just be full in on something else.
Yeah.
I think you'll never, ever see me in my life not fully committed to a sport, especially a sport.
That is an insane, especially sport, because also to other things that I know. That's an insane attribute.
Yeah.
And I envy a little bit. Not that I'm the worst, but I could be way better. Definitely.
I mean, I like it, but then, then you can I easily look at people who are very creative, and I sometimes almost envy that, because I think I don't think I have a creative side, but I'm definitely not as creative as some other people that I know, and that is maybe something that that I don't have,
But it's even nearly incompatible, I think. Or it's like, you just can't. I do think that part of and I want to call myself a little bit creative, it goes together with being a bit crazy or mad, or like, I don't know, like in a way. And probably I wouldn't have both. So don't miss being creative. I miss being disciplined.
Yeah, okay.
You want a kombucha? Do you drink kombucha?
Yes,
I didn't even ask you.
I actually love kombucha.
Then go for it. We promote health in this episode.
Yeah.
We already proved the first
Perfect.
lemon kombucha.
Amazing.
And is it hard to answer this question, which I'm talking good about you, but were you also looking good on the sports you were doing? Because now...
Looking good in what way?
Yeah, like...
Aesthetically.
Okay. Yeah, and it's hard for you to take, but... And I've asked other people, just random, I ask random questions, like, who is the best looking person on the bike? And same as I don't know my male version, but I think for the woman version, you are that person. It is true.
Oh, wow. I'll take that.
Take it.
That's
take
nice.
It,
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Thank you.
Is it also like that? Has been like that in other sports?
Yeah.
I'm glad you are confident to say
I'm very confident.
I hate too humble people.
No,
Like-
but I don't care to
Fake humble.
to sugarcoat things or to make myself look a certain way, because
Love it.
I think you can take it or leave it. You either enjoy what I have to say or be around me, or you don't, and that's totally cool. But yeah, no, I in all the sports, again, like, there's always been that, like, inspiration, and then you kind of find that person in that sport that inspires you, and yes, they inspire you to do the sport, but I've also been inspired to kind of, like, for sure, like, look like that person 100%. I will never lie about that. So even
But that comes natural to you.
yeah,
Like I've seen a lot of people that this inspiration is more trying to copy or be someone else. You are so much yourself
yeah,
on everything you do.
yeah. But I will say that, like,
Don't
of
give
course,
credits of the aesthetics. And
but some, I will say, not, I mean, I am me, but yeah, you definitely, especially if we want to talk more cycling, when you look at some cyclists, like, there's some people that just sit on a bike so nice, and it's the way they're kind of like leaned over, or how their elbows are tucked in or not.
That's it.
And then you kind of learn, like, the ways of being on a bike, and you kind of want to mimic that.
Because I think today there is a lot of chase on forcibly looking differently on the bike with accessories, with now I'm gonna do this or that, or like forced way. But something you can't buy and you don't learn anywhere is to sit and look good naturally. I'm sorry if the conversation is going this way. Let's
No.
move forward a little bit. I just wanted, because it's true. I don't know if people is listening or have ever seen to you.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say go to your Instagram to see how look she goods on the bike, but let's continue.
Yeah.
On your story a little bit.
Yeah. So then
Sports, big part of your life.
Yeah. Then it was horseback riding, and then after horseback riding, I went to university. And when I was in university, well, I went to a different city. Like I come from Toronto, Canada, and I went to university in Ottawa, which is like 4 or 5 hours away from Toronto. Kind of had to let go of the horses for a little bit, which sucked, but I couldn't really do both anymore. And then that kind of forced me to find my next chapter. And that next, my next chapter was very much snowboarding and skateboarding. And that was pretty much all of university. But yeah, then I just got into that, and then that became the same way I was motivated and disciplined in ballet and then
You put it
horseback
into
riding.
cycling
I did it
for a
into
longer
skateboarding.
period.
I did it into snowboarding. I worked at a skate shop for like 10 years, a place called Top of the World in Ottawa. That became my like home, my family, my community through all of university. It became my identity for sure. And I did a lot of also community stuff. I think then that's where the community stuff came in. And that's where that all started.
I guess you are also on you're on your 14, 15 years old?
No, I'm like, I'm like 18.
18,
18
yeah.
at
But
this point.
those years, whatever, is that
Yeah.
when you actually start discovering the world. At that age also, that even shapes you more. Like that really tells,
Yeah.
and particularly the sports you were doing, that you also carry an identity with them. Definitely they also shape what you are today.
Yeah,
Those
and
years.
I was 18 when I got that job, and I was starting in that community, and the people I hung out with were like in their late 20s, early 30s, and I hung out with a lot of older people who actually took super good care of me. I owe so much to that whole world and that whole part of my life, and it taught me so much, and it's still a huge part of me. Like I definitely don't snowboard as much as I used to, or even skate, but it is something I'm thinking of trying to get a little bit back into. But that whole community is also very creative. And I think, yeah, there's the sport side of it, which is what I was really into, but the creative side of it, I don't think I'm that creative. So
Yeah.
I loved learning and seeing other people's creativity.
Yeah.
So that was
I think it's a circle that fits each other.
yeah.
And actually, Joshua, who was sitting on your chair
Yeah.
a few hours ago doing the episode 0, he comes from the skateboard, and he always mentions that I think in cycling you usually tend to struggle more to grow in the creative side when whoever you ride, which is not my case. I do think I grow with people I relate to. But
That's good.
But yeah. A little bit fast forward.
Yep.
You discovered cycling in
2017 or 2018.
as a skater. Did you see it as a sport that you would even finger point like those roadies?
I definitely
because
looked
it was not
no,
cool even back
no,
then.
I remember my mom had gotten
I was
into
a bit
cycling.
embarrassed of cycling at the beginning.
Yeah. But actually, me not so much, but I just remember like my mom started cycling maybe 2 years before I started cycling. And she was like, I come from Toronto. We don't have that much of a cycling culture or road cycling culture. You're not exposed to it, so it's not really a sport that you would think about. And then my mom picked it up, and I remember being like, this is such an old person sport. Like, yeah, maybe one day when I'm her age, I could be into it. And I remember being like, good for you, Mom. This is a great sport for you. This is good for you at your age and everything. I can see myself doing that way later on in life. And then I had gotten my dad's old vintage like Bianchi road bike with like the down tube shifters. And my mom was like, come for a ride with me. And
with
I was
the
like,
saddle all the way. Like
it was too big of a bike.
Exposure was
Zero.
Yeah.
And I went with her, and I was in like Vans with like the like strap that like the fixie kids wear, and my skateboard helmet. And I went with her, and I was like, okay, this is kind of nice. And my mom lives a little bit outside of Toronto near the countryside, so that was a different environment, because I was more living in the city, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice, but still didn't really latch onto it. And I had a commuter bike that I rode a little bit in Ottawa when I was living there as a student. Then when I moved back to Toronto, I had a fixie bike, and then I rode around with that. And then eventually I was like, okay, I think cycling is kind of fun, and it would be nicer to get more of a distance than just in and around the city.
Your story is a clear example, and I'm actually doing like a call out for whoever not riding bikes and seeing it from a bit far away, and having that one friend that ride bikes, try it and just get 1 kilometer further and just keep experimenting, because I think life so much. The fact that I indeed ended up wanting to discover bikes, I was so much against it at the beginning. So continue.
Okay.
Sorry, it just reminded me, it's like
No.
just go out, ride a bit more, get interested. Don't feel like overwhelmed by all the gear and all the stuff and all the people riding fast and skinny. Just go ride your bike a little bit more, because you were not the person as like you were when you started. Same here.
No.
So okay, that's a big call out. I think it's part of our mission, getting people on bikes.
Yeah, I mean, we all started somewhere. I used to wear like ankle socks, because I was like, these tall socks look weird, and I wore ankle socks, and the tight spandex to me was like, ooh, like I don't want to be exposed. And I used to wear like a super baggy jersey. Like, it totally makes sense, and I totally understand why it is also a bit of an intimidating sport to get into, because you're so exposed, you're so vulnerable, and as a female, and not, at that time loving my body so much, I was like, this sport is maybe not for me, because it's a little bit too much. But as you start to ride and pedal and explore new places, and then, especially at the time, I didn't own a car, and the bike started feeling like my car and my independence, and I could kind of go out and do my own thing. And then at least I got hooked on that. And then again, then you learn more about the sport, you get really into it. And then I got hooked on, okay, how do I get better and better and better? And then, so.
Yeah, I think also coming from a community or like a underground sport, I feel also use that with a different perspective. You already have a few learnings. Like I did, I was also into my perspective, like come from other sports, and it's like, okay, I'm a beginner in cycling, but I'm not beginning in life. So I will find my way. I don't know if it was true. It was true. It's like, maybe you now look better than I do. You do objectively, but I will get to a place where I'm comfortable with myself, which I'm not yet. So cool.
Exactly the same.
So from all that, well, you were teaching, because this I think is super nice to mention, because I think people don't know that you were teaching yourself people with special needs, right?
Yes, yeah.
That was your job.
Yeah, I started teaching in regular classrooms, and then
people today picture of that Virginie on the bike only, and it's normal.
I lived a very different life off the bike, and I didn't really promote it, or not that I promote myself, but like I didn't
advertise it.
I didn't like show it so much. Because it was just my own thing, and it was nice. I did a few years of regular classroom with like 27 students. I did from grade 2 to grade 5, which is like age range like 7 to 11 almost. And then I have had some experience with special needs programs. I worked at a skateboard camp where we ran a special needs program at the camp in the summer. And that was my first kind of exposure to it. And I was like, man, like you learn so much.
I guess.
You learn so much, and it humbles you.
I see you so much doing that.
Yeah. And
Same as I don't see you on a horse.
Yeah.
I see you. I see you being with the kids and especially
that's you see it.
It's true.
Yeah, and I think it's actually funny sometimes to think back that I was a teacher, because
feels like a past life, eh?
It feels a little bit like a past life, because now it's been 2 years since I haven't been teaching, but it was my big passion. It still is a big passion. I've had to take a bit of a break from teaching due to a little bit of like a burnout of the system back in North America. It wasn't really fulfilling me anymore. Even after doing...
Such a common thing, eh? Like teaching, wanting to do great for the education of this, and just the system not being able to to handle that. It's crazy. Sorry, I just hear this story again from teacher, which is a pity.
And at the beginning, I mean, it took me a while to realize that until I started just connecting with more teachers and talking, and then you find out like, okay, everyone's kind of feeling the same way. But nothing's changing and no one's really trying to make a change. And then my also idea was like, I'm going to go be a teacher and I'm going to try and make a change. Trying to make a change in a government-run system.
That's a lot.
Is not really...
Because when you actually, and I've had many examples of you wanted to tackle something, you do tackle it. Like you do it. So I guess just fighting with the system was not feasible.
No. And then I kind of just was like, you know what? Instead of trying to change the system, I can try and change or improve the life of these kids for the 1 year that I have them in my classroom.
That was
because I mean, I think we can all relate. Everyone has that memory of maybe one teacher or two or none, 100%. Who knows, that did give you that good year. Like you're like, oh, grade 4 was like, that was the best year, or grade 10. So, or that teacher that taught me science. And so I was like, cool, if I can be that teacher to like even just one kid in my entire career,
it already pays off.
I'm happy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
in Spain, sorry for interrupting, but I think also in other countries, particularly in Spain, because then in Switzerland, I think they mentioned like that. And I don't want to, I just talk way too much. I think we should move a little bit forward, but that's all right. But I just also want to express my thing. Sorry. Well, maybe I'm not gonna cut it because I like it all. Okay, whoever wants to skip the podcast, skip it, or just put fast forward at 10 minutes. We're talking about teaching now, all right?
So don't
like it or not. They have so good benefits when it comes to holidays and timetables and so on that a lot of people studied, and it's also an easy degree to study. This in Spain, a lot of people study it, and they eclipse the actual those who were born for that, and they actually take the craft and the thing in the heart. Anyway, I want to hear about your transition to Copenhagen and getting closer to where you are today.
The teaching actually kind of morphs into that whole me moving to Copenhagen because then I taught special needs for 3 years, and I was like, loving it, and it was so much fun, and these students were tough, very, very, very tough, with a lot of struggles that we really had to help them work through, and challenges. And
that's crazy. I'm sorry for stopping again, but like it puts everything into perspective. Whenever I'm in a bad place and I talk with someone more vulnerable than I am, or in a worse place, just by life, which is this case, I there's no problems anymore in my head. I guess you've been living that reality every day. That stuff. Anyway. Yeah,
but I actually want to give all the credit to those students, they weren't very happy when I left that job and moved, because also when you teach in special needs, you have the same students for all the years until they graduate from the school, and then they move on. So I had the same kids for 3 years. Like they felt like my family.
Your family.
So it was a huge thing when I left. I was very emotional with the families and everything, but they are the ones that made me move, not because they were too difficult to deal with, but the way they saw life made me completely change my perspective.
Crazy.
I went into teaching because I liked to work with kids and I liked their mentality, but we all, no teacher can deny it is a nice benefit to have your summers off. It is a nice benefit to have Christmas off for 2 weeks, and March break, at least in North America, we have March break in a week in March. It's a huge benefit. And a lot of people are like, wow, 2 months in the summer, that must be so nice. You can go ride your bike and do whatever you want. I'm like, yeah, of course it is super nice. But I work hard mentally all year. But yeah, those, I wasn't like, I was happy in Toronto and I was happy, but I wasn't like my happiest, if that
Yeah.
even makes sense.
Yeah.
I lived a good life and I had a good routine,
And
but I
already back
started,
then you were connecting, sorry, with Europe, right? Like you already were traveling
yes,
back and forth. Like
exactly.
it's
I
not,
was
it
cycling.
was not something to
No,
unlock
no,
completely
no.
for you.
I was already cycling a lot at that point, and I was traveling to Europe at any opening I had, any long weekend or
Crazy.
week or summer. I was in Europe.
I always thought you lived in Europe.
A lot of people thought that.
It's like you were more present than anywhere else in Europe. You were doing all those crazy trips and experiences, and
Yeah.
it was so crazy your cycling journey back then when I only knew it through
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
Um,
But that it was, I fell in love with Europe. I fell in love with the adventures and the mentality and everything out here, and the people that I was meeting, and the friendships I was making on every single trip. Sure, maybe you can say it's like the honeymoon phase where you meet people on a trip and you're having this great experience and you're kind of in this like paradise. But no,
you have proved it now that it's not the case.
No,
now
it's
that you
not
live
the
here.
case, because like you do these trips with people for a week and they become like these friends that you feel like you've had your entire life.
That's crazy.
Because everyone is their truest self, and I'm sure.
I love that you mentioned this because.
But like, everyone says that.
Yeah, but everything on Instagram, we
Yeah.
just look at good-looking people riding expensive bikes on nice kids, and everything looks so superficial.
Yeah.
But the thing we care all the most every fucking morning is first to how did the other person sleep.
Yeah.
Second, like whatever the stupid joke we make. Third, ride bike for the sake of loving riding bike.
Yeah.
And then those stupid pictures come naturally at the very end.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm breaking like we live in a little bubble.
Yeah.
But those in the corners here in Spain or whatever in Czech Republic thinking that they are all like all these superficial people and so on. It's all about people actually.
Yeah.
And whoever doesn't value people, usually they don't connect with this lifestyle and trips.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's the reality.
No, but it is, and that's, yeah, I made the bestest of friends on those trips, and every time I went back to North America, I kind of just missed my friends back in Europe. And then, yeah, I spent the last 2 years in Canada kind of thinking like, Europe and cycling exposed me to so many new parts of the world and things. And I was like, nah, there's way more to life. And I'm not going to sit here and just live my life because I feel like this is the only path I can take. I don't believe in that at all. So I completely was like, screw it. I'm just going to find a way, and I did. And if you were to ask me how, I don't really know. Things kind of just happened.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer that like things happen for a reason, and life kind of is there for you. I tend to
if with the right attitude, and I said it in the intro, it's all about having your heart open, curious mindset.
Yes.
And being ready to soak all that in.
Yeah.
If you have too much noise, if you have overloaded with the stuff, I think this philosophy doesn't apply to everyone. Sorry.
No.
It does apply to you.
Yeah. I became a huge believer in it, and it again sounds corny to say, but like you only live once, and that whole like YOLO thing really spoke to me. Like it really spoke to me, and I was like, yeah, I do only live once. I'm literally going to be on this planet one time. That's it. And I'm not going to have a single regret. And, I'm going to work jobs where I can make the money that I need to make so I can do the things I want to do. And if I die with a single penny to my name, I don't care. Because I also like moving over here to Europe and kind of completely restarting my life. Especially
completely
in my
literally.
late 20s.
You were now just telling me right now before the interview, like how now you actually packed your absolute life there.
Like
there's nothing.
It's done.
I'm curious about that. I guess this was probably the most important decision you have ever taken and up until today. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm very curious about the part of leaving your family behind, because I remember also one of the first rides you and I did.
Yeah.
I was asking about I think it was your bracelet.
Yes.
So you probably still wear.
Yes,
I don't know. Yeah,
every day.
You do still wear.
Yeah, like the
And it's this kind of
charm.
conversation that usually in the bank you don't have deep conversations, and it did get deep, and it did raise a lot of my interest, and you felt super connected with your family. And now that I know you more, you're very much connected.
Yeah.
And me as someone that it is the same, and I promised myself that I will never move overseas. You did.
Yeah.
I guess it was you put everything on the scale, and it weighted more
Yep.
your life, your future.
Yeah, yes, you know, you could sit there and be like, oh, but you left your family behind, and aren't you going to be sad when your parents get old, and don't you want to be there when they get old, and all this stuff. And I think I have really great parents who have supported me from the beginning. They know that I'm a very restless human, and they know that I love adventure and that I just love new things. And I don't think they were very surprised when I decided to leave. They were sad, but that's tough. I'm super close with my family, like very, very, very close. But hey, we're 2026 now, and we have all the technology in the world, and I think that's super helpful, and I can connect with my family still. But yeah, when I did sit down and really pros and cons of moving or staying, and I was way more selfish on I was way more selfish with my decision.
I
Where
wouldn't say selfish, and this is actually a topic that I'm particularly interested, because in general I try not to plan life and so on, but if there's one thing that still keeps me awake overnight, it's actually that planning of I need to be close to my family. And hearing your reflection helps me a lot. And I don't know, I think some people will relate to that. So, if people were expecting to listen to talking about bikes and equipment and watts and so on, it's leading this way, the conversation. Copenhagen.
Yep. I picked Copenhagen. I picked a really nice country where the way of life is super nice. You can definitely feel like that country takes care of its people.
Express that. Because I also feel it, and you always have better words for all that. And it's hype right now, and there is also a bit of mystery of magic. Copenhagen is actually way more real than just an abstract. There's actually facts.
Yeah, and you know, just also their culture and the way they are with, like, they do actually put a lot of importance on family. At least in my personal experience, I feel like everyone is, you know, it's dark in Denmark in the winter, and you can feel like, because it gets dark and it's gray, the country has learned to just come together and work together and be together to kind of like get through these dark, cold winters. And then the winters actually become this really cozy time in Denmark.
Because the biggest priority economically is safety of the family, which it seems that it's for everyone, but no. It's actually not for everyone.
No.
And like having that one apartment, I say one because they don't even buy a lot of apartments, to make it as cozy and as good as possible inside, not even the far shade.
No.
To me, that says a lot of a culture. It's like... And
it's, I like it. I kind of like the downtime in the winter, and then as soon as the summer kicks in, then it's like... Disney World almost in Copenhagen. It's so lively.
And even for someone who probably think you like the most in your life is mountains. Like, it's crazy, because for me probably it's also, if I think of the aspects of a city, probably the first one is bike riding, meaning mountains, weather, and it's of course very, very low, if not zero for Copenhagen, and we both still are super confident that it is, from where we know that we have been in many places, the best place to live.
I mean, like, you come from Spain, and like everyone's dream, especially in the cycling world, is to just live in Spain. And that was the comment I got when I chose Denmark, was like, out of all places in Europe, why didn't you go to Spain? You love to go to Spain, you love to ride your bike in Spain. And I said, well, I'm not moving to Europe for cycling. I'm actually moving to Europe because that's where I connect with. And I want to pick a country where I see myself long term.
But all this speaks of all the reasons I brought you to this episode, because it's like, it's just the way you approach things. It's like you have always a different way to see things.
Yeah.
We were talking about Spanish. To me, and I don't want to enter into politics, but the thing that makes me more happy to be in Denmark, because it's the opposite in Spain, and something that terrifies me is how the country is divided here in Spain, and how these politics don't work. Whether you are left, right, center, up, down, whatever, this just doesn't work. And Denmark, it just works smoothly, which to me, coming from Spain, is the biggest advantage of that country. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway,
And
we like it. It's also magical. That city. It is vibes.
it's just nice and it's calm.
Yeah.
It's
They are not aware the Danish, I think, of the position they live, right? Or they're proud of being Danish, right?
They're definitely proud.
They're proud,
They're
but I think
definitely
they live also in a bubble, a bit even.
Yeah, because why? If you're from
of
Denmark, why would
safety,
you leave?
of like rights, safety.
Yeah.
Like just things that they take for granted in a way.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, you know, when you are born and raised in Denmark, why would you really need to go anywhere else? Like they all travel and they've been to other places, but from what I hear is sometimes people will move away for a bit, but they always come back to Denmark.
Which is one of the only cities, and you and I travel to a lot of cities in Europe, a lot of cities, if not all of the cities. And I have this conversation with everyone. And from the big cities, from the capitals, usually people is passing by, or maybe they were born there and they will leave, and it's never. But in Denmark people stay there. They go for an experience because they have that privilege and the money potentially, or the position to let's go experience here and there, but they come back.
Yeah, always.
And not because they are afraid, it's because
it's just better.
It's
better. Just nice. It's nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't say it's better because maybe not for everyone, but like everyone. It's nicer.
Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah.
Let's go into meat, because to me I would call you an activist of women in cycling. I don't even know the actual meaning of activist.
Yeah,
maybe you're not out on the street.
No.
So on every single day, but you do take actions, and you probably not. You would like even to take more actions, and I'm sure that your journey in women in cycling has just started.
Yeah.
You are someone that a lot of women look up, like so much, particularly. We have not mentioned Panomal in all this time here, but definitely has played a big role for you as a cyclist. And particularly in Panomal, you have played a huge role, and I still do. You still do now from the office, because we have not said it, but you work in the office now. Which is probably the most important part.
Yeah, true.
We have been talking about horses
and everything else.
Love it. This is what this podcast is about. You have played a huge role. I see it from inside, and when I step aside, I see it also from outside. It's crazy, and you are so welcoming, so encouraging, online, on presence. Tell us. I have a lot of questions, and I'm someone who wants to understand better and how to support better that, because I mean it, but I don't even know what to do myself. First question is why? Where should we put the focus? Is it product? Is it getting more women in cycling? Is it faster, getting them faster? Is it because now it's a big topic in pro tour and rights, salary rights, and these kind of things, but not on the everyday cyclist.
Yeah.
So where should the focus go, and who should care about that? Is it brands? Is it all consumers? Is it only the woman? Is it shops?
That is a good question, and it's also, I think, a question I'm trying to ask myself every day, because it's tough. I think the whole industry is a little bit, in my opinion, it feels like it's a little bit all over the place, and it's trying to get a grasp of what to do for women. I mean, we can sit here and be like, of course, we want like the pros to get their equal pay and all that stuff, but there's more to just the pros in women's cycling. There is like a whole other world of it. There's amateur racing, there's adventure riding, there's people who are just looking to have a little bit of activity and sport in their life. And I think it's actually important to try and find a way to bring all of that together, and not just push that pro women cycling. And I don't know. I mean,
it is important, but there's already a lot of people working towards that.
Yeah, exactly.
We miss people like you caring on the street about actual women that they're not pro cyclists.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's hard. I don't really know. I think product for sure needs to improve a little bit, but it is a tough one, because as women, our bodies are so diverse and so different. And even me, like my body has changed and continues to change like year after year. And then it's like 1 year, it's like this bib fits nice on me and then it doesn't. And I kind of like this style of bib now because it's better for this type of body and blah, blah, blah. But so it would be nice to maybe see a little bit more development on the women's side of product for sure.
Do you think it will pay off? Like if I have my business and I'm selfish, I don't care about women, but I want to make a bigger business. Is there a way that actually pays off? That actually to be at the front of thinking about women? Is the woman waiting for that will become reliable customers? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like if you build the nice like if you can create nice product that make women feel good when they put it on, then more will come. But like I said from the beginning, cycling is such a vulnerable sport. Like we're pretty much exposing every curve and crevice of our body. And yes, people can sit here and be like, yeah, but spandex is spandex and it'll hug the body the way it hugs the body. But in my experience, especially now working internally at Ponomal and working closely with the product and design team and helping them test stuff and wear stuff, there are ways to just make it more flattering and more comfortable.
Yeah.
So I do think that if you could give that comfort to the woman, you would bring more into it.
And what about that? Because that you can do a lot, and you are indeed involved in the development in Panama clothing, but where I think you shine on these rides when there's a lot of testosterone, and you are that one woman that puts all those testosterone down to make other women feel more comfortable and to join more rides and just to inspire and to make them feel strong, empowered in a way. Because you are like an example of that.
Yeah, I really have like a big, not heart, like I care a lot about making sure women stay in the sport as well, regardless on racing or becoming pro or whatever. And it's tough because yes, it's male dominated and there's a lot of male group rides and you get scared to join one of those because you think you can't hold on and da-da-da-da-da. So I do everything I can to try and encourage women as much as they can. And I also had a very tough start to the sport and had not the nicest. I had some moments where I definitely got kind of bullied in a way back in Toronto on how I was just a pretty girl on a bike and that no one really took me seriously. And I think that's kind of wrong. Like already there, it's like I almost didn't even want to keep going in cycling because, you know, I think to grow also women's cycling, it doesn't just take the women themselves to push the sport. It's like the men need to be there and be supportive and be encouraging. And
but why would we? Like why do we need to care as men actively and make an effort?
You guys have fallen in love with the sport. Men have fallen in love with the sport. And I think they could all sit there and be like, I love cycling and cycling is so great and da-da. Then why not share it? Why are we not helping spread that and share that regardless of your gender? Like, why are we not encouraging women to come ride with us or making them feel safe and comfortable in a ride? Like, I do think that the men also share, not a responsibility, but like, and that's also not saying like, well, now all the men need to join super slow rides. And I get it. We all have our own type of training and riding we want to do.
I think it's a matter of sensitivity. Hearing you, not that I know this, but it's not that someone, maybe a man, should actively promote or whatever, encourage, but it's a matter of sensitivity of that we are, and I include myself as a man, we are putting you down as a gender in the sport because you're not as strong or you whatever, or maybe you don't sit as flat, your back, your torso, or whatever, or the calves, and it's true. So it's just a big, I think it's a call out, and I think it's all about start talking about it, and hopefully also brands start pushing the marketing more woman, right? Because it's like campaigns and so on, all the idols, all the stars. well, now there's now more a bit more female pro riders, but out of the pro riding, it's all men.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially pro riding, like, maybe I got into cycling too late. I'm sure if I was like 10, I would look at a pro woman rider and be like, that's an inspiration and I want to work towards that. But if you get into cycling later, I think you quickly realize becoming a pro cyclist is not that attainable or at that point. So yeah, I looked at pro cyclists to kind of give me an inspiration, but it was never my like, ooh, I want to be them. I actually ended up finding other women who were more relatable or realistic for me to look up to. Women who were maybe a little older, but still pushing way higher watts than I could. And I was younger. And in my mind, I was like, well, I'm younger. I should be stronger, right? And it's like, no, not at all. That's not how it works. I look at pro riding, it motivates me. I think all the pro teams motivate me. Going to a pro race, watching the Tour de France, the Tour de Femme, seeing the pros ride by motivates me to ride my bike. But it's your everyday cyclist that inspires me to ride my bike.
Yeah, true.
So I think we veered off a little bit.
No,
still.
but everything is valid.
Yeah.
So what can you tell, for example, someone like me that these past years have been getting people together and ride bikes, and I did after the first year doing this, and then I cracked my knuckles. It's like, now I'm gonna get woman inclusive because now I understand. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I actually took the time, and I was like, the only thing I implemented, because it was the only feasible, well, maybe you correct me, was to do a woman-specific pit stop.
Yeah, that is huge.
Then let's at least do this call out, because it is true that nobody talks about it. Like,
No.
hey, we do this rides, and then all the boys, we just get our friends out and sorry, it's true. And it's like, and nobody. And then you, woman, usually need a bit more of time and a space and a more.
Yeah.
So what I do usually, and I think is correct me if I'm wrong, is I usually stop the people. I'm doing a call out if you're organizing a group ride with women also. We stop, and then I tell the woman, you can now be in a good spot, and then the boys will roll until the next crossroad, and we wait until we have time.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic system.
Something else.
No matter who is kind of falling behind, I think it's also nice, whether it's a male or female or whatever group, we don't even need to specify too much female, but it is nice to kind of be like, okay, we see these people are struggling. We don't need to mansplain the girls on how to ride, but maybe we put them somewhere in the group where it is more beneficial, because I think a lot of people, when they start to ride, we all think, I'm going to go to the back because it's going to be easier.
That's
but
true.
Then a lot of people don't realize being more in the middle of especially a big group ride is where you're really going to be protected. And just having that kind of like eye out for people. And I mean, I've definitely thought it was really nice when you're on a group ride and someone does check on you or comes back and like, hey, are you doing okay? It's not about mansplaining and being like, oh, like, eat a gel and do this. It's just like offering your support and your help on group rides to anyone is just also super nice.
Yeah. We tend to change a little bit of topic, but actually connected. The word community is overused, and I think it's losing a lot of sense. What does community mean to you? And I would also like to take us through your entering Copenhagen community as a woman, or not necessarily, both. Because now Copenhagen is not the biggest cycling community, and particularly woman, and it's super hyped, and everyone rides bikes well and so on. Does community mean inclusivity? Is community a club? Is community a philosophy? Is just, what is it for you?
I think a community is just, for me, the people that I've connected with. Like, it's not just because you ride a bike and I ride a bike doesn't necessarily mean that's my community. I think it's just people that share that same mentality and that same vibe too. Like, I love positive yeah, community is family more to me. It becomes the people who I want to help and take care of and be with and spend my time with and develop with. And it doesn't have to be necessarily sport related or brand related or anything really, or level related, because I think I get a lot of comments sometimes where people are like, oh man, like I would love to ride you, but you probably are too fast for me. And I'm like, no, like I don't care to go fast, actually. I love to go fast. I don't care to go fast.
Yeah.
I would much rather go for a nice ride and meet a new person and have a good conversation. And
This is very distinctive of you.
yeah, and
This
maybe
is not
bring them
common.
into my community. And then as much as I obsess over progression and growth within myself, I get really stoked and hyped watching people then come into this community, fall in love with the community or with the sport, grow with it, develop.
I can confirm
Yeah.
that. Like you, that was the balance I was talking about. That is definitely not common, and I think that is what gets people into the sport. So I think we look like grandmas with this setup on the street, talking like we are missing like sunflower seeds, like eating like a liter of beer, but it's like there's people passing by, people say hi.
Yeah, I like it.
It got so dark. I don't know how much time we are in the conversation, but I had a lovely time, and it's not gonna be the last one. I know you have way more to share. Yeah, we'll keep it for the next one.
Yes.
So good.
So good.